I just want to preface this video with a little bit of encouragement because that's why I make these videos, to encourage you to just give it a try. You can have a really spectacularly beautiful and custom home for really pretty inexpensive if you're willing to put in the work. If I can do it, you can do it. I managed to make this beautiful settee sofa for right at about $120 all in. All right, let's get into the nitty-gritty of this project. Okay, here we go, French Mattress. I bought this couch, bench, settee. I got it on Facebook Marketplace. It was 70 bucks. And the cane is in beautiful condition. However, it came just like this with this weird upholstery job and no seat cushion. For $70, I thought, well, this could be a good thrift flip for me. And since the cane was in such good condition, I decided to go for it. I got a price quote for the foam cushion for this at my upholstery supply shop when I was there last time shopping for fabric, and it was gonna be $350. And so I opted out of that. And I went to Facebook Marketplace. I searched for couch cushions, sofa cushions, even sofas that had cushions that I could use. Couldn't find anything. Decided to go ahead and try twin size memory foam mattress. So that's what I did. I ended up getting a twin size memory foam mattress that I cut down to the proper size. And this is a 6-inch memory foam mattress. It just so happens that 4 inches is just regular foam, and the only memory foam part is just this 1.5-inch topper, which is perfect. Exactly what I needed. Foam with a little memory foam on the top. Had it been 100% memory foam, it probably would have been too soft. Although I was even going to buy it if it was fully memory foam, because having a soft topper in a French mattress on this type of a sofa would have been fine too. So that's the story. That's how I got the foam for 50 bucks. Let's get started on this reupholstery of the bottom part of this sofa, and then the French style mattress. Let's do it. All right, first step is to strip off this old fabric. Right to the rubbish. Before we get started, let's talk about my fabric. I got this roll, actually I got 2 rolls exactly like this of upholstery fabric from somebody on Facebook Marketplace. I got 2 rolls of this. There's 51 yards a roll, and I got it for next to nothing. But look at this gorgeous, it's like a chenille, but it's a thin chenille. And it's got a little bit of a rubber backer on there, which is typical for upholstery fabric. It's this steel blue, kind of a chenille texture to it, linen-y / chenille, but perfect for upholstery and also appropriate for slip covers. This is the one that I washed in my last video, and it washes really, really well. One thing about French mattresses that I don't love, and the reason why I don't do more French mattresses particularly for personal use, is once you make a French mattress, it's permanent. You can't take it off and wash it because of the way that you have to stitch the edging. There's no taking it off. And so therefore I prefer to have a mattress cover with a zipper that I can take off and throw in the washing machine. So that's why I don't do a lot of French mattresses for myself. I'm going to start this video at the sewing of the French mattress edges. When you're making a French mattress, you're basically making a box cushion cover with no zipper. So I'm gonna actually sew, ladder stitch, or invisible stitch my last seam shut in order to close up my mattress cover. If you want to see a video on how to make a box cushion cover, I'll link to that video in the cards here, and I'll also put a link to that in the description box below. So the next step is to Dacron wrap the foam. So this is my foam, and here's my Dacron. And you need to wrap your Dacron so that it softens up all the hard edges of your foam. So I'm not gonna wrap the back of it. I'll just go right to the back, then I'll wrap around the front and the other side as well, because I want to be able to flip this cushion. You know, it needs to be double-sided. And I use just spray adhesive. You can use kind of any kind of spray adhesive. So the next step is to put the cover on this bad boy, and here is my cover. So it's sewn together on 3 sides, basically. This is my least favorite part. So now I got the cushion into the corners. I'll straighten them out a little bit better, and then I can pull it all the way on. Next step is to close this baby up. So I'll pin it and then hand stitch it. So the way that I did this is I go ahead and put my ruler on here, and I just put a pin in every 2 inches. So on the 2-inch mark, all the way across. And then we're gonna come back and go in between on the opposite side. So in between the 2, I'm gonna go here. Now I've seen this done a lot of different ways. Well, I've seen this done 2 different ways. Some people go with their pins directly parallel to each other, but I like mine to be a zigzag pattern. And I think that's probably the traditional way to do it, is in the zigzag pattern. So the important part is to make sure that your pin to this seam is the same distance as the pin to this seam. And you can eyeball it. When you get your welt situation here, you don't want this seam to be off. You want this sewn seam to be in the center of your welt. So what I did is I took a curved needle and straightened it out a bit. I found that having it curved all the way was really difficult to hit the mark, and having it straight was a little bit difficult to hit the mark. Actually, no, I take it back. I didn't have a straight needle long enough, so I just straightened out this curved needle and made it a little straighter, and it works great. The way that I start this is I go ahead and pick up about 1/4 of an inch of fabric, either on the top or the side, either one. Bring it almost to the end, and then to start it off, I just tie it and do 2 knots here, or maybe 3. And I'm using a Tex 70 bonded nylon thread, and it's a pretty heavy duty upholstery thread, and then I doubled it up in my needle. So make sure that you're using either a button thread. Button thread would probably be even better, but this works really well, and it's the same color as my fabric. So I'm just going to cut that tail off, and now I've got a nice strong start. And you got to have a really strong start because you're going to be pulling quite a bit of pressure here. So now you're going to drop your needle in and bring it out right where that pin is. Nice and tight. And then you're going to move over from your thread about 1/4 of an inch and bring your needle back up to where that pin was. That's where we just tied our knot. There was a pin there. Okay. And now I'm going to go 1/4 of an inch from there and bring it back out down here. And then 1/4 of an inch from there, and bring my needle in. 1/4 of an inch next to that. And now if you start to pull, you're going to see that pattern come out. Okay, 1/4 of an inch. But that's also why you have to have a good start a good knot here because you're going to be pulling everything from that first knot. Quarter of an inch. Okay, and so there we go. And so you can see why you want to have the same distance from the seam to there and the same distance seam to there, so that this seam basically runs down the center of this poofy trim piece, whatever you call this. I need to figure out what that's called. I'll look that up. So then you just continue on. I find that I like this to be bigger than smaller. I find that if you gather up, this distance right here is about 1 inch. Let me see exactly. Yeah, that's actually 1.25 inches. So I went 1.25 inches from my seam to where my pins are. Once in a while, this gets hard to pull this needle through here, and so I have to grab my pliers in order to grab a hold of my needle and pull it through. Be sure to have some pliers on hand. And it doesn't have to be extremely precise, but close. And you can pick up these curved needles at Walmart. I'll also leave a link in the description box below for the curved needle. They're on Amazon as well. All right, and this should be the last stitch. Push that down nice and tight and make a knot there. Okay, good. Now I'll knot that a couple more times. So there it is, the top. I'm going to do the bottom now, and then I will put in the buttons. And so you can see how with these spaces, you want these spaces to be fairly consistent and fairly even, because they do make these definite lines and pattern in your cushion. So you want it to be pretty evenly spaced, and look at how this one is way in, this one's in a little bit too far. So pay attention to that, because this is how it's going to look. You're going to see it pretty well when the light's shining on it, right? So make sure your spacing is fairly consistent. It doesn't need to be perfect, obviously, because it is a handmade project, and so that's the beauty of hand making something, is that it's not going to be perfect. Okay, so now I'm going to do the other side, and then I will show you how to do the button tufting. So I didn't actually use buttons to tuft this. I just used upholstery thread and an upholsterer's knot to make the tufting on this. I used a buttoning needle and then just threaded or put the thread through the cushion, brought it back up through the other side of the cushion, and tied an upholsterer's knot on the one side, and that was enough to tuft this and bring some puckering or dimpling into the cushion. So that's simple. I can put a link in the description for a video showing how to tie an upholsterer's knot, or perhaps I can just do a separate video showing how to tie an upholsterer's knot. It's pretty simple. Here it is all finished. A quick tip, and that is when you're cutting your foam to size, you want to cut your foam a little bit bigger than you think it needs to be. So when I cut my foam and I squished it into here before putting the cover on, of course, it was difficult to push it in. It fit, but it kind of got creases in it to where it was like almost folded up a little bit. So cut your foam 1 inch bigger than what you think it needs to be, because when you put your mattress on, or when you put your cover on, and then you put all of your tufting into here, it kind of constricts it a little bit. And so if you make your foam and your cover exactly the size of your sofa, and then you go and do all this tufting, which pulls it in quite a bit, you're going to have space on the sides, and it'll be short this way, you know. your cushion might have wiggle room in here, and you don't want that. You want your cushion to fit in nice and tight. If you are thinking about doing a French mattress and you need some instructions on how to make the boxed cushion cover in order to do all the tufting, then click on that video right here and I'll see you over there.